another episode of World Secret TV, where we explore the hidden truths of history, the unexplained, and the mysteries that still haunt our world. Tonight's story begins in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, with a ship that was perfectly intact, fully stocked, sails raised, but with not a single person on board. This is the mystery of the Mary Celeste, one of the most famous ghost ships in history. On December 4th, 1872, a British ship called the Dei Gracia was sailing through the Atlantic Ocean between the Azores and Portugal. The crew spotted another vessel drifting strangely. Through a spyglass, the captain saw that the ship's sails were partly set, but it wasn't moving properly. No one appeared on deck. As the Dei Gracia approached, they read the name on the stern, Mary Celeste. The ship was familiar. It had left New York just over a month earlier, heading to Genoa, Italy. On board were Captain Benjamin Briggs, his wife Sarah, their 2-year-old daughter, and 7 crew members. 10 people, a boarding party from the Dei Gracia, climbed onto the Mary Celeste, and what they found made no sense. The ship was completely empty. No captain, no crew, no passengers. But this was not a wreck. The cargo hold still contained over 1,700 barrels of industrial alcohol. The crew's personal belongings were untouched. Clothing was neatly stored. Money and valuables were still there. There were no signs of a violent struggle. No blood. No damage from pirates. No signs of fire. The only missing items were the ship's lifeboat, the sextant, and the chronometer tools needed for navigation. It was as if the crew had calmly and quickly left the ship and never returned. The last entry in the ship's logbook was dated 10 days earlier. It placed the Mary Celeste hundreds of miles from where it was found. This meant the ship had been drifting, crewless, for days. So what happened? Over the past 150 years, dozens of theories have tried to explain the disappearance. One of the earliest ideas was piracy, but pirates typically loot valuables and leave signs of violence. On the Mary Celeste, everything valuable was still there. Nothing was stolen. Another theory suggested a mutiny. But Captain Briggs was known as a respected and experienced leader. There was no evidence of conflict on board, and the crew's pay and possessions were untouched. Then there was the idea of a sea monster or supernatural force stories that captured the public imagination but had no real evidence. More realistic explanations focus on natural causes. Remember the cargo, barrels of industrial alcohol. Some of those barrels were later found to be leaking. Alcohol vapors can build up in the hold, creating pressure and the risk of explosion. One theory suggests that the crew smelled strong fumes and feared the ship might blow up. There may have been a small gas explosion, one that left no burn marks, but created a loud shockwave. Terrified, Captain Briggs could have ordered everyone into the lifeboat temporarily, planning to stay close to the ship. But if the lifeboat was tied to the Mary Celeste with a rope, a sudden gust of wind or rough wave could have snapped the line. The lifeboat would drift away. The Mary Celeste, with its sails still partly set, would continue moving without them. Another possibility involves water entering the ship. Records show the Mary Celeste had a history of minor leaks. If the pump seemed clogged or malfunctioning, the captain might have believed the ship was taking on dangerous amounts of water. Fearing it was about to sink, he may have ordered an emergency evacuation. But the ship never sank. It kept floating silently, empty, and alone. There is also evidence of a faulty chronometer and navigation challenges. If Captain Briggs thought they were closer to land than they actually were, he might have believed abandoning ship was a short journey to safety. Instead, they would have been stranded in the open Atlantic. No trace of the lifeboat or the people on board was ever found. The Mary Celeste was eventually sailed to Gibraltar, where an investigation took place. Authorities even suspected the crew of the Dei Gracia of wrongdoing, thinking they might have killed the passengers for salvage money. But after a long inquiry, no evidence of foul play was found. The case remained unsolved. What makes the Mary Celeste so haunting is not violence or destruction, but the eerie normality. A meal half prepared, personal items undisturbed, a ship in good condition, still capable of sailing. It looked like the crew had simply vanished into thin air. Today, most historians agree the answer likely involves fear of explosion or sinking, combined with bad luck at sea. A cautious decision, a drifting lifeboat, and an ocean too vast to forgive a single mistake. But because no bodies were ever found, no final message discovered, the mystery remains. The Mary Celeste sails on through history as a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that even in the age of maps and compasses, the sea still held secrets no one could survive to tell. Subscribe to World Secret TV and join us for the next episode, where we uncover another hidden truth from the shadows of history.